34 and 35.
We're live.
Good evening. Welcome to Exoneration Nation podcast. I'm your host, Christopher Scott. And today on the show, we have a very important person, Mr. Frederick Bishop. He's the first African American to run for a Denton County sheriff. That's very unbelievable, and I can't even imagine the things that he has to go through to try to win this election. So without further ado, we're going to speak to Mr. Frederick Bishops right now.
Well, thank you for having me, sir.
And
I appreciate
it. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
So how was your trip over here?
Full of traffic and wrecks, though, but we made it. We made it.
Okay.
We've calmed down, so we got a little time to calm down. Everything's good, though. It was good.
Okay, so I'm going to just start firing away with
Let's
these
go.
questions.
I'm ready.
And hopefully everybody enjoy.
Okay.
Okay, the first one, tell me about your story. How did you get here? And why do you feel like now is your time to run for Denton County Sheriff?
I'm born and raised in Denton. Went to high school there, junior high, elementary. My mom and dad are from Denton, grandmother. So I started there, graduated high school, and then I was a senior class president there. I always forget to bring, I was the senior class president.
Okay.
And I think I was the first black senior class president
Wow.
at Denton High School. From there, I went to the Army. Then once I got out of the Army, I went active duty, got in the reserves, and I started college at Paul Quinn College. And at that time, once I started college, I was still working at the Dallas Sheriff's Department at that time. So ended up going from the Sheriff Department to the Dallas Police Department, spent 21 years there, 8 months, had different variety of jobs. Finally retired in 2017. Stayed retired for about 4 or 5 years, and now I'm teaching at Little Elm High School.
Okay.
So I'm teaching law enforcement 1 and 2 in the Constitution over there. So,
Okay.
And to answer your question, how did we get to this right now? I felt I had something to bring to the table. I still had my senses about me, and I was looking at some of the things that were going on over there and hearing about it, and I just decided to, well, I might as well put my name in a hat and see what's going on. I know I had the experience, and that's what made me decide to do that. So.
Do you feel like it's more of a challenge that you're African American?
I believe so, because you have to change the mindset of people.
Right.
I've read this book, and article that somebody gave me, and it was called by A Growth Mindset and a Fixed Mindset. It's by Carolyn Dweck. And yes, I think it's going to be a challenge to change their mindset, because with their fixed mindset, they're used to the old way of doing things, and Denton being small and doesn't get that. I feel Denton doesn't get the advertisement as Dallas does, and doesn't make the news, so they can kind of keep it a little small town atmosphere. But I think I know what my mindset is. Let's have a growth mindset. Let's change some things.
Right.
Let's make it. Let's reflect what's in the county now. There's over 1 million people in Denton County now.
Wow.
And I have some breakdowns of some of the numbers of the demographics of it.
Right.
But it's 1 million people, so it's time for some change. Let's reflect what's going on. Let's see, can we fix what's already, some things they claim that are broken.
Right.
So that's just trying to change the culture.
Hey, that's the best way to do it, is try to change the culture.
So,
And make people believe in Denton County again.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I like that. I want to ask you this question right here.
Okay.
To the people that always says, I'm just one vote, and my vote really doesn't matter, so I'm not going to vote. What do you tell those kind of people?
I tell them, and it's some of the young guys. It's usually not young guys, young generation.
Right.
The older people are going to vote, but I tell them it only takes one vote to lose. I read an article. I don't know if you saw an article in Shreveport where this sheriff won by one vote in Shreveport, and now they have to do a recount. Every vote counts, but I just think if they would know the effect of it and understood what was happening, they'd be more willing to vote. But some people just, it's just municipals. But that's where everything starts.
Right.
And that's where it gets started. And I just, if we could convey that, I've been going around telling people, even though I just learned something this year, where you can take things in there, your notes in there, do your research, and then take your notes in there and vote.
Right.
They have articles like the Women of League vote. League of Women Voters, thank you, where they break down the candidate's name for you, tell you what they believe in, and you can go in there and vote. So just trying to change the culture, man, with the young people, and that's where we can get, I think that's where the change starts, right there with the young people.
Yeah, the young voters matter because times has changed. You know, you want the younger generation to get involved in, you know, voting, and you see how they're trying to make it hard for us to vote.
Denton County is the same way. They were trying to have polling stations. We don't have polling stations. You have to go to a certain location during the general election.
Right.
And that's it. And now the voters have voted for polling stations.
Right.
But the county commissioners haven't enacted it yet.
I just think that's something that we have to push for.
Yeah.
And, you know, if we can come together as a team and as a group, you know, it's a lot of things that we can get done.
Yes.
But it takes a village. It doesn't take one individual. It takes a multitude of people to come together and make things right.
I totally agree. And I think you have to have the energy, and that's why you need the young people.
Yeah.
You need that energy to push you forward and go and to succeed.
Hey, I commend you on what you're doing so far, and
thank you.
I want you to keep up the good work, and I'm going to ask you another good question.
Okay.
Let's talk about the vision you have to lead the sheriff department. You mentioned in your campaign you would lead by example with integrity, teamwork, and fairness.
Yes, sir. I have been in a situation before where I was mistreated at the previous job at the sheriff department when I was young.
Wow.
And here at the sheriff's office, Denton County Sheriff's Office, they say it's a lot of that going on. I believe at some point in time, somebody has to stand up and say, let's move forward. Let's break away from that old way of doing things. Let's be a little more innovative. Let's get the people in there. Nobody should come to work walking on eggshells.
Nobody.
Who wants to do it? And I did that when I was a young guy in college and having to work, and not trying to put that department down, but it was just an individual that just didn't like me, period. And I had to deal with them for like 4 or 5 of those years on and off. And it was rough, but I learned something. And I'm like, okay. It taught me patience. It taught me, okay, I forgot the saying is you get bees with honey.
Right.
So I had to learn, and I had to learn the hard way sometimes. Thank God that I had a chief there who's still my mentor today. His name is Edgar McMillan. He was a chief, assistant chief at their Dallas Sheriff Department. And he took me under his wings. So I grew up with my dad. I had a dad. I had both my parents, but you know, when you're away from the house, you get a little crazy and wild.
Right.
So Chief McMillan took me under his wing and just molded me. Okay, son, you can't do this. What are the rules and that?
Right.
So I understand the rules, but those rules should be for everybody.
Right.
And that's one of the things that I would like to, not just affect certain people if you're not in my circle.
Right.
So I want to keep it fair. I want to keep the integrity there, where I feel that even if the employees are, to me, those are your biggest recruiters.
Right.
If they're happy, they're going to tell people about the job, man. You need to come over here and work.
Right.
And so those are things that I'm looking at. And just teamwork. I don't think one person can lead an 1,800 member office.
Right.
You know, when you have personnel, it takes 4, 5, 6 good people. Hey,
Right.
what direction are we going? Now, you have a top.
Right.
Which direction? Have a direction,
Right.
have a plan, what you would like to implement. So
Yeah.
that's just my vision. And I think I know it can be done.
Yeah.
We just need to get people out there and vote, and then let me show them how it can be done.
Right. Basically, you like the point guard.
Yes, sir.
And everybody
yes,
else is
Yes.
the role player.
Yes, sir.
So long
Yes,
as you
sir.
lead by example,
Yes, sir.
and you lead, like you say, with dignity, fairness,
Yes.
everything should be okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because if you lead by example, people are going to follow.
My pastor's teaching a series on living out loud at my church, at Empowered Outreach Church, and he's ending the series, and he expounded on having God in your life, but yet you still can live where you out loud, where you're guiding folks and bringing them on, and still have the word in you, and that's my deal. Show some compassion. You have to be a leader, implement the rules, but don't be so harsh that you strike them down that they can't get back up.
Right.
And that's my thinking.
Right.
So,
I mean, that's a great way to look at it. You know what I mean? And something about patience. They say patience is a virtue.
yes, yeah.
And me being incarcerated for 13 years, I knew what the meaning of patience mean.
Right.
So when people mention patience, it hits home because I understand what patience actually means.
I understand. Like I said, I seen your story, man. I applaud you, brother.
I appreciate it.
I applaud you.
I appreciate it.
I'm glad you're here.
I am too. And I've been living in Denton County now for 13 years.
Really?
And I never got to meet a lot of the politicians and the people that was running for office.
Okay.
But soon as I found out who the politicians were, which I'm a Democrat,
Okay.
I started trying to reach out to them like, where could you use me at?
Okay.
How could you use me to be a part of your team to help you be successful?
Right.
You know, only thing we can do is just get out here and try to help each other.
Teamwork.
Teamwork makes the
That's
dream
it.
work.
Right. Right.
Teamwork makes the
Right.
dream
So
work.
I
for
totally
sure.
concur. Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you.
So, explain what boots on the ground means.
That means hands-on,
Hands on.
out in the community, being proactive, implementing things that are beneficial for the county. You know, you just made a statement about the team and about the Republican and Democrat. Personally, I think the office should be for everybody.
Right.
But you have to run on a ticket.
Right.
I don't want to have a division between the Democrat and the Republican. Why can't we work as a team
Right.
for the county?
Right.
Because it's over 1 million people.
Right.
Everybody's gonna have their views, but as a team, we can go that route.
Right.
So that's just my vision, brother.
Yeah, because you have to be able to reach across the aisle.
Yes.
Because it's nothing ever going to get done
Yeah.
if we don't come together and make it happen.
Right.
Because the Republicans and the Democrats have to vote on certain laws and bills to be passed
Thank
for it to
you.
even become a
Right.
bill.
Right.
So we have to be able to reach across the Republican side, and the Republicans have to reach across to the Democratic side,
I agree.
especially if you want great things for this country. You have to be able to come together
Right.
and make things possible and make things happen. Because what I'm tired of seeing throughout the years was African American men and women being wrongfully treated
Right.
by cops. We see it every day. We see it, you know, especially since social media
Right.
is so big and broad,
Right.
and people have camera phones. You get to see it firsthand when it happens.
Correct.
So we have to put people in places to make the right changes.
And I think, like you said, like you asked, that's being out in the community.
Right.
That's being out with the political groups or the non-political groups.
Right.
Just being out there. And I also think you educate your officers and your
Right.
deputies to a sense of where they have to go to class so many hours and and this is what we're teaching. This is going to have to be adhered to for this
Right.
policy. I was teaching a class today for my students, and we were viewing a videotape, and it was talking about, do you victimize the victim again?
Right.
And I showed them some videos where there's a way to approach people,
Right.
but don't take it personal.
Right.
Don't take
Right.
it to the point where you're upset because they didn't answer the way you answered.
Right.
Each culture is different.
Right.
So
Right. So I remember I got involved with Collin County Community College.
okay.
And they have a cadet school. And I used to go speak to the cadets because you can ask people in that classroom that's not that's not black.
I got you. Yeah.
And you ask them, how many of you all have actually patrolled an urban community, an urban neighborhood? And majority of them say no.
Yeah.
So, and I try to explain to them, like, your approach is everything.
Yes, sir.
Don't approach me with aggression. You will not get aggression. It's something about being an African American. You can't approach us with aggression because you're going to get it in return.
That's it.
And
That's
then
it.
once that happens, now the train is already off the track.
Yeah.
Now you feel like you're being disrespected because of the fact that I asked you a question.
Right,
And you
right.
feel like you don't supposed to be asked questions, but how are we going to know if we don't ask questions?
That's true. I was out on a call one time in Dallas, and I was with a white officer, and we went to it, and the father had to cuss out his sons. The son did something and thought he was going to do something. So we went there, and the guy was barbecuing, and I said, "Sir, you need anything?" "I don't need a goddamn thing."
Oh,
this
wow.
is what the dad said. But it didn't bother me. But my partner, he was like, I said, well, sir, you ain't, no, you can't do that. Well, he was pissed off. He was upset that his son tried to fight him, over some money or something. So,
Right.
and what I was trying to teach the young man is, because they're cussing, they're not cussing at you. They
Right.
want to vent. This man was my dad's age at the time, probably in his 60s, late 60s. I can't tell that man to stop cussing.
Right.
And my deal is he's grown. He was upset. So you have to have the variance of the knowledge to say, okay, assess the situation.
Right.
And if you see them that they're being aggressive, then you can say, okay, so that's not necessary. But
Right.
if they're just talking, it's just the way they approach. Like you said, it's
Right.
your approach. Your body language gets
Right.
read just like we read, as an
Right.
officer will read the other person's
Right.
body language. So it works, a mutual respect. That's
Yeah.
what's needed.
That's what's needed.
That's what's needed.
Out of everything, mutual
mutual
respect
respect.
for
Yes,
one
sir.
another.
Yes, sir.
Because you wearing a uniform doesn't make you any
That's
better
correct.
than me.
That's correct.
Because look, what really I think brought a lot of things to people's eyes was when I forget her name, that went inside the guy's apartment and killed him inside of his own apartment.
Oh, Amber Geiger.
Amber
Officer.
Geiger, yeah,
Yes, sir.
Officer Amber Geiger.
Yeah.
And you was like, how can you make those kind of mistakes? So is that come from like, you got to have better training, or what do you think that situation should be?
I don't want to second guess her.
Right.
I don't know the situation. I wasn't
Right.
in it. I would tend to lead toward training, but then I think also it's how you were raised in the culture that you were raised in.
Right. Right.
My mom and dad raised me, you treat everybody right.
Right.
And so I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to second guess the nature
Right.
of it.
Right.
I mean, it was a sad situation. But I think there's ways that you can prevent that.
Right,
By
exactly.
getting classes.
Right.
And them showing 8-hour class. Like
Right.
with Dallas, you have to take 40 hours. When I was there, you have to renew your stuff for every
Right.
6 months or every year, 40-hour
Right.
class. That's with everything. And I remember Lieutenant Glover, he taught about African American studies.
Right.
So those things were taught in Dallas.
Right.
So, but like I said, it's an unfortunate situation
Right.
for it. So I don't want to just second guess what
Right,
was going
right.
on. But I just wish it hadn't happened.
Me too. I hate that happening as well. You know, an innocent person losing his life eating a bowl of
Yes,
ice cream
yes.
on his own couch.
2 families affected by
Right.
that.
2 families affected
Yeah,
by
yes,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of a hard one for me. With Denton County continuously growing, what are your plans supporting these growth from a safety standpoint?
Well, first of all over the Texas, there's a shortage of officers.
Right.
So I think you have to have it where you're attracting something, and we have to set it up that way. I know they just had a raise recently at the sheriff's office, but like I said before, it's the culture and the climate.
Right.
And I believe if we change that, that'll get some more people to start applying there. So.
Right.
Secondly, just get some good recruits, go out to the colleges, get
Right.
out to the high school, check out their programs, and let
Right.
them know what you have going on. Because
Right.
I think the legal, well, I ain't going to say I think, I know the age is 21 before they become a jailer.
Right.
But I just think you have to get out there and you have to talk to people. I remember when I was in recruiting in Dallas, when I used to travel around, me and my buddy, Sergeant Vertus McKinney, they wouldn't come to our table. You know, they would walk by. And so we're so outspoken and everything, we would just go get them. Hey, man,
Right.
come on over. So
Right.
to work for the county, back to your question, I just believe you have to have people out there, community oriented, get out there and meet the people, get out
Right.
to the schools, get
Right.
out there to the colleges,
Right.
and just make something attractive about the sheriff's office that people will want to
Being more accessible to the people.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes,
I
sir.
like that. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I think our schools need it.
Yes, sir.
You know what I
Yes,
mean?
sir.
Like
Yes,
we
sir.
say, the children are our future.
Yes, yes.
And we have to instill in them right and wrong.
Right, right.
You know, no matter where you look at it from or what color lenses you're looking into,
That's true.
everybody needs to
agree
be
with you on that.
treated equally.
Yes, sir.
For sure.
Yes, sir.
What measure will you take to ensure officers' accountability and conduct?
Well, you know, we have internal affairs, and my deal is, I like the open policy thing, but I believe you have an office set up where people could come in and make legitimate complaints now.
Right.
We don't want no false complaints or you're
Right.
just mad.
Right.
We have video now. You have video.
Right.
You have surveillance cameras. So those things there, as I was telling a guy today, I said the camera didn't bother me when I was in recruiting. I mean, when I worked as an officer in Dallas, because we did what was right. I did what was right. I
Right.
just
Right.
didn't want my name. I was so scared of my dad, not scared of my dad, but the name my dad gave me.
Right.
I didn't want to embarrass him. I
Right.
didn't want to embarrass my family and bring
Right.
that in. So
Right.
to be accountable, I believe that you have an open door policy and get some objective people that's going to review the cases if
Right.
you have a complaint.
Right.
Now, I've seen where in Dallas where they've made the complaints and the people aren't satisfied, but I think that might be some of the problem also is when the investigator, well, that's not true, that's not what happened, but if this is the conclusion and this is what the videotape is showing,
Right.
I think that needs to be shown to,
Right.
to solidify what you're saying, this is why we don't have anything. But I
Right.
do believe that in the open door policy, I do believe in if officers mistreating someone, you come and file a complaint and then
Right.
it gets addressed.
Right. That's good. I like that. Yeah, because everybody has to be held accountable.
Yes, sir.
You
Yes,
know, a
sir.
lot of
That's
times.
even me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it starts at the top.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? It's crazy. Like, I always told myself this. When I was wrongfully convicted, they were saying, oh, it's the cops' fault, it's the cops' fault. It was part of their fault. But it's people in higher positions that allowed it to happen. And we're talking about prosecutors and we're talking about judges. And I have a saying like this: because you look like me, that don't mean you're for me. You know what I mean? Because now it's kind of hard because you have a lot of African American judges now. And then you look at it to where, like, are they going to
In
treat...
Dallas County.
In Dallas County.
Okay.
Let me get that
Yeah.
straight. In Dallas County, will they be more harsher on me because they don't want the other people to think they're being lenient because he or she is an African American judge? But now at the end of the day, we see, white judges give lenient sentences to white, men and women,
Right.
and we know why it's because of skin color. Now we have to get ready. We have to take that out of our court systems, because it makes people feel biased about the court system, and that changes has to be made for the good.
I believe if you're a detective, and I was a detective, and you have measures in place where it went through this, and I'm sure they had it then, but they were more critiqued when I got there as a detective,
Right.
so I don't know, about your situation.
Right.
And it had to go through two people, your sergeant and a lieutenant, and if there was any question, it came back to you.
Right.
And that's what I loved. And I had a great sergeant and a great lieutenant that would do that. But here's the deal. If I felt that I didn't have enough evidence, I was man enough to say, okay, I can't get him now. But if he does something else, he's going to do something else.
Right,
We can get him.
right.
So it's not I don't take it as us against them, but it's like, you got away this time.
Right.
All right. But I'm
Because I couldn't prove it.
Yeah. So I totally understand. So it's your character.
Right.
It's your who you are that I think that can not determine the case, but determine if you're going to pursue that case any
Right,
further. If
right,
there's nothing there,
It's nothing
there.
Right.
I had a detective who trained me, Sharon Mosley. We're still friends to this day, and Tommy Wiesner. And I always say this, and I say this to my class: what are the facts? If the facts aren't there, you don't have anything.
don't have
You just
anything.
wait, because if they're a criminal, they're going to do something.
They're
else.
going to do something.
So
They're
I
going to do
agree
something
with you.
again.
You just got to get those people, get the mindset like one or two are going to get away, but
Right.
if they're habitual criminals,
Right.
they're going to get caught.
Yeah. And it's something good you said about the character, because it's crazy that when I was being interrogated
Okay.
for the crime, I was being questioned about drugs. When they felt like I couldn't tell them nothing, they just said, oh, well, now you being charged with capital murder. I'm like, what you mean? Capital murder? You were just saying that you was looking for drugs, but now you don't have drugs, now it's a capital murder case. So here's where the character lies at. As I'm coming through the door, an officer stops me, And he said, I do not believe you committed this crime. And I'm like, I know I didn't, but they said I'm going to jail for capital murder. He said, yeah, you're going to jail for capital murder, but let me tell you why I don't think you did it. He said, for one, the lady just saw you. 5 minutes prior, she couldn't even pick you out of a lineup.
Wow.
She couldn't even pick you out of a lineup. And he said, two, he said, look at you. He said, you well-groomed, you well-dressed, you well-spoken. We found an uncashed paycheck stub in your back pocket. He stated, this is not the crime of a man character of yours. This is the character of a dope fiend. And he said that. And that officer said, if you subpoena me to court, I get up there and I can only tell the truth that does nothing link you to this crime. It's not one shred of evidence link you to this crime, but her word against yours. Now, how do you feel about certain cops having tunnel vision?
That comes with training. It comes with training.
Right.
I've been exposed to a lot of stuff, so, and I thank God that my parents, they just didn't play.
Right.
They didn't treat people bad.
Exactly.
My aunts, my grandmother, it's just you just didn't do it.
Right.
So I think it comes with training, taking classes, and those are the things that we call them in-service. That's what I was trying to think.
Right.
You take those in-service classes, but also I think you send them out in training just like we did in Dallas. You have to go to this certain part of town. You go to this part of town. You go, and I think it comes with time. So, man, it's so much that could be changed, but you don't know where some of these people come from, these little small towns, and they're used to a certain way of things.
Right.
And then by the time they get here, they're happy. I'm police. I'm whatever, and they get so excited, and I think they lose the thought process of common sense.
Right.
Is that fair to say? You
yeah,
know?
I mean, common sense is big.
Yeah, so.
And if you don't have that, you don't have anything.
And that's what happens. So, man, I just, to answer just training. It's just training.
Yeah, because the fact that, when certain people get pointed in one direction, like, hey, but you haven't even completed the investigation because other names has came up that you didn't even go, interview. You didn't even go speak to them.
Man, I had some good trainers. I had some old school detectives.
Right.
And they called me, Freddie Wayne, you make sure you do this, that.
Right.
You dot your I's and cross your T's.
Right.
If he gets away, that son of a biscuit eater got away, but he'll always do something else. So,
right.
Man, it's I just thank God that my parents had me grounded. And,
right.
So I think it comes with training, letting these kids know, hey, I know you big time police or deputy where it may be, but this is somebody's freedom. This is somebody's life you're affecting. So make sure you're correct.
Right.
And it just comes with training.
Yeah. And I tell everybody that, like, even if you're a juror, be a part of jury panel. Mm-hmm. Don't run from it. Embrace it. But use your own mind.
Right.
Because just your one vote alone, like we said about votes, one vote can stop an innocent man or woman from being found guilty, or worse yet, found guilty and put on death row.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Do you have any initiatives in mind for youth engagement and crime prevention?
Well, I was talking to a friend of mine. He works for Denton PD, and we were discussing this. And I like the little program that they have going. They do stuff in the summer with the kids. As he found out, and I found out when I used to work in Dallas, they're a little standoffish at first.
Okay.
But one of the initiatives is just something doing something, because that's when it seemed like the crime rate goes up, especially when I was in Dallas.
Right.
So I'm sure that possibly the same thing in Denton. I think you have to give them something to do. And at some point in time, it's right before the summer starts. I think you should start around January, February, start going to the classes. Hey, guys, this is what we have going on.
Right.
Hey, this is what we'll be doing. Hey, maybe bring your parents out, or maybe get the officers to go out there on those PTA meetings.
Right.
Let the parents know what's going on, so then maybe the parents will bring them.
Right.
I think once they get a better view and a better vision and a better taste of what some of the mindset won't be so negative.
Right.
And that's being out there, being visible.
Right.
And that's what it's going to take. So some of the initiatives I think that you have to start with, like I say, start in January, start working with them, see what they like. Like
Right.
I have a guy at my church now who has taking some boys. Supposed to take them out somewhere. So we're
Right.
just trying to start small, and I believe in starting small, then
Right.
work your way up. And then why not partner with the guy who already has something going? So Denton already has
Right.
something going. I would like to partner with them. Okay, let's see what we have going. Let's see, can the deputies and the officers work
Right.
together and show this
Right.
unity where, hey, we all want to help.
Right.
And so I think that's a route that they can take too for the kids initially.
Sounds good. I think that's why I go to colleges and get interns, because an intern actually helped me get out of prison.
Right.
And I felt like it was my duty to get these interns and give them the experience that they need, because a lot of times you don't get that,
Right,
just
right.
in classrooms.
Okay, yeah,
you know what
that's
I
true.
mean? You
You're
got to
right.
have people
I agree
that
with
you
you.
can intern with, so you can learn, from people that then actually experience
Right.
injustice and also justice at the same time.
I agree.
Yeah,
I totally agree
for
with you.
sure. What about schools and educations? What about schools and education institutions for safety and awareness programs?
What I would like to do now, now they have, most of the schools have a CTE program. What I'm teaching, so they
Right.
have those classes.
Right.
And what I like to do, I like to have the speakers come out and talk to us. So I've had speakers come out. So I believe in letting them go out there and still talk to them with the local.
Right.
I've had detectives come out, ATF agents and things like that.
Right.
So I think once they get exposed to it, you're gonna laugh. Once they get exposed to it, you bring those out there and just let them talk to them. So yeah, I believe
Right.
in going into the schools and doing that,
Right.
because they're teaching the program anyway. So as a teacher, I do it anyway. I've had people come out, game warden, all of them.
Right. So if you ever need me
Okay,
to come talk to the kids or whatever, I'm
Okay.
down.
okay.
I think
Wait, I know you're in Little Elm now.
Right,
so
right.
I'm at the high school. Yeah.
I think when you have people that come talk to them
Yeah.
that has experienced certain things in their life,
Yeah.
it'll go a long way with them.
Okay, I got you.
For sure. Yeah. Just keep me in mind.
Oh, I will. I will.
Okay. If elected, tell me what is if elected, tell me what is the very first thing you want to accomplish within your first 90 days.
Well, my first 90 days, I wouldn't touch anything. I would do some observations. I would look, see what's going on, what policy is working, what policy is not working. I would just get a lay of the field.
Right.
If it's something that needed changing right then and there, yeah, if it can be changed. But I wouldn't go in there. I wouldn't go in there chopping heads and everything. I think it takes 90 days to look at everything, what's going on, and then start making a few changes here and there. If something's working, leave it there. Don't
Right.
touch it. If the
If
wheel's
it ain't
not
broke, don't fix it. Yeah.
But if it's some things, like I said, the culture and the attitude and the not want to be that, that's what I really want to see. Can I change that? Like,
Right.
hey, I want you to come to work and not feel threatened or
Right.
feel that you can't speak your mind.
Right.
You're not gonna hurt, but everybody's gonna have an opinion. Everybody's not gonna be happy. But I think you can if you make 85% of the sheriff's office, you're doing pretty good.
Right.
Because it's always gonna be that one that's just wow.
Right.
So the first 90 days, I would just do. Just sit back and watch, read, get their SOPs, read what's going
Right.
on, the grievances, see, and then get with them. Hey, a suggestion box. Hey guys, you can mail this in. I don't care who puts it in there. You will not be. Nothing will happen to you. Put it in a box.
Right.
Lock it up. I would do the reading of that.
Right.
What they think they need or what we need. So, I just have an open mind to it. I believe, like I say, treat them fairly. Make them where they want to come to work, and I believe that once they start wanting to come to the sheriff's office, the word will get out. That'll
Right.
draw in more people. Then that
Right.
draws in your quality people,
Right.
and you just don't have to accept, people that just
Anything.
let me put
Yeah.
anything.
So, to get people to vote for you,
Oh Lord, okay.
give me something that'll make somebody say, I want to vote for Frederick Bishop.
He's honest. He's open. He's fair. He's transparent. He's a hometown hero.
Right.
I wouldn't want to be walking around Denton, Texas, being the sheriff and knowing that somebody's being mistreated
Right.
or in that way. I have a caring heart, and I believe that we can make that the sheriff's office, the best place to be.
Right.
Get out and vote. Give me the chance.
Right.
Give me the chance. If you don't like how the changes are in 4 years, you have a right to vote me out.
Right.
But all I just want is the chance to show y'all that this can be a top-notch Denton County Sheriff's Office in the nation.
Right.
That's all I want is a chance.
A chance is a good thing to ask for, because at the same time, when I was incarcerated, I saw so many men leave and come back, leave and come
want
back.
that chance.
And I told the Lord, like, just give me one chance
That's all it
to
is.
get home,
Yes.
to get my freedom, and I promise you,
Yeah.
I would not come back.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
give me that one chance
Yes, sir.
to prove myself to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I want to know, what is your take on wrongful convictions?
I'm just straight against them, man.
Right.
That's why I said it starts with the police officer and it works its way up.
Right.
Somebody should have stopped. If they see something, stop it. No.
Right.
Like I said, I had some good detectives, good sergeants. Somebody has to be man enough or woman enough to say, no, we're not pushing that to the DA yet. You need to go do a little more investigation. So I'm against them. Just
Right.
to answer your question, I'm against it. I like that Innocence Project. I was
Right.
Man, I used to see that. I was like, that's good. And then when I saw your video and I was watching it and I went back on and watched it, and I saw the picture of all those guys in
Right.
1 year. I think it was 12 or
Yep.
14 in 1 year that was found not guilty. Got to get
Right.
out. So I'm for it, man. It's okay to look over some old cases.
Right.
I'm totally for it. I'm totally for it.
Tell me about, like, what is your take on still having physical evidence to prove someone's innocent? Like not throwing away the DNA or things that's that's stored away so things can be tested.
I think that's a good idea. I mean, you talking about should it be there where it can be tested?
Yeah.
Of course, and I'm glad it's a statute of limitations. I'm glad, and then they have in place, I don't know about Denton County, but they had in place where some things had to be held on for 50 years and
Right.
40 years. I think that's the best thing they did. Now, some other folks might not be happy who
Right.
had their stuff
Right.
turned over.
Yeah.
But I believe that's the best thing that Craig Watson, my frat brother.
Right. Craig Watson
Omega
did
Psi Phi,
that. Yeah.
I think that was one of the best moves.
He
And Like I
made.
said, a lot of people didn't like, but that was one of the best moves he's made. And you can't say it's not a best move because look how many people, look who got
Right.
exonerated.
Right.
Look how many people got
Right.
exonerated. So
Yeah.
I just don't understand a man's heart who just don't want to do right,
Right.
by folks. That's
Right.
just, I'm sorry. That's just.
No, it's
That's
no.
just, and I guess it's nothing to apologize, but that's just me. So I commend it. I think that the evidence, I'm glad they don't throw it away. And
Right.
I'm glad that they have cold case units that'll go back
Right.
and check things.
Right.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
I do too. So, as a kid growing up, did you ever think that you would be in this position that you're in now?
Nah, I had dreams. I had dreams. I was gonna. I said when I was young I was gonna be a police officer or a lawyer, but then when I got to school went to teaching because I wanted to get in coaching. I had with girls basketball this year at Little Lamb High School,
Right.
the freshmen, and I thought I was gonna get graduate from Paul Quinn College, get my degree. Well, the GI Bill started running out of money.
Right.
The Dallas Sheriff Department kept trying to fire me because I dealt with people that just, don't like it. So I said, well, let me go on over here to Dallas PD. It took me twice to get on there because
Wow.
the old supervisor lied on me, so they claimed you just didn't make it. And see, I ran into one of those people that just didn't want to hear what you have to say.
Right.
So that's why I make sure I listen
Right.
and try to comprehend what's being said with that attitude. But long story short, I just wanted to go there, and I ended up staying 20-some years.
Right.
But God has blessed me, man, to go back because I wanted to teach. I'm
Right.
coaching. I'm enjoying life. I told my wife when my fraternity brother is one of the assistant principals, and he said, man, we just need you to interview. You have the experience I interviewed.
Right.
got the job, and I told her one day, I said, I'm walking out the building smiling every day. So that's how I ended up here. God has blessed me to be help a lot of people. And I thought about what my wife said one time. She said, and we look back, because you don't remember all the stuff you did till
Right.
you just sit back. I said, I've been helping and serving people years all my life, and you don't think it's service, but if you think about our watchword, our word that we use for Omega Psi Phi is service.
Right.
So I'm just there to try to help who I can, and if they want help, fine or not, okay. But with the sheriff's office, I believe I can help quite a few people.
Yeah, I think you can too. And I usually don't endorse people. I think I've endorsed maybe 2 people since I've,
Right.
been exonerated. But I'm here to tell you, I will endorse you.
Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man.
And you will have my vote.
Thank you.
And I'm going to try to get as many people in Denton County to come out and vote for you.
Brother, I appreciate
Trust
it,
me.
man. I like I said, don't want to let no one down, and I know I can't make everybody happy, but if I
Right.
get 85% of them,
Hey.
get them going, and y'all know my heart of what's doing right, I think we're on the right track.
I have a book for you.
Okay.
This book is called Tested.
Okay.
And it's how 12 wrongfully convicted men held on to hope.
Okay.
And I want to read you something on the
Okay.
back. These 12 men, these 12 innocent men, lost 189 years combined, 68,985 days, 1,655,640 lost hours. Their story is in this book called Tested.
Okay.
And how we came up with the name Tested, we always say, if you haven't been tested, you haven't been through anything.
Yes, sir.
That's my that's my message. If you haven't been tested, you haven't went through anything. The tested that I've been through was wrongful conviction, and the tested that you're going through now is trying to become the first African American sheriff in Denton County history.
Yes, sir.
I commend you, I
you.
applaud you, and people, get out this election and vote for Frederick Bishops. We need him in the office. I think he can do amazing things for us. It was a pleasure to meet you. It was a pleasure to sit down and have a conversation
Pleasure
with
was
you.
all mine, brother.
I appreciate it. I thank you. Here's your book right here.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Next week on the show of Exoneration Nation, you will have 2 innocent men. One served 31 years and one served 29 years. And the message is, when they came up for parole, they was denied parole because nature of offense, and they didn't show any remorse. Now you tell me, how could you show remorse for a crime that you didn't even commit? Needless to say, I had a capital life sentence. I would have had to do 40 years day per day before I was eligible for parole. Do you think I can go in there and say I'm remorseful for this crime and a crime that I did not commit? The only thing I'm remorseful for is the individual that lost his or her life in this situation. Tune in next week. You will not be disappointed. Thank y'all. Have a blessed day. Peace.
Peace. Appreciate that, brother. I enjoyed this, man. So I'm gonna give you a
picture with the books.
Okay.
Make sure you send me all the pictures you took.
Man, appreciate it,
It
brother.
was
I
awesome.
enjoyed this, man.
Yes, sir.
We got together.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I'm gonna give you a call because I want those kids to see what bad police can do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna look at my calendar, and it'll probably be right in May.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right before they graduate,
Yeah.
like all that stuff, and just want them
Yeah.
to see if they ever decide to get in there. So,
Yes, sir.
in fact, I'm gonna see can I get all 3 classes to come up.
Yeah.
Sit there and go. Yeah.
And actually, we're doing this is October though.
Okay.
October October the 2nd is Wrongful Conviction Day, where all the people that were wrongfully convicted get together in different cities and have panel discussions